Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to be talking to a leading national expert on attracting and keeping new business. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So I run into a lot of frustrated entrepreneurs all the time. They come to me, they say, well, I put up a website, I've got Twitter, where's all the business? Well, it's not enough just to put up a website and get on social media. You really have to have a plan. And to talk about that today, Bryce Vance, he is the CEO and founder of DataDriven LLC. Bryce, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. And I mean, you're absolutely right. We live in a technological age, and thinking that you can just hop on and throw a website up like a business card is really in the past these days.
So is there a strategy when somebody engages you? What are the steps you take them through?
So it's really dependent on the ideal client. Like, everybody's a little different. A car dealership needs to have a different ecosystem than a mom and pop jeweler, or than a mortgage officer or a contractor. But the general premise is you have to identify your ideal client, you have to capture their attention, you have to convert their attention into an actionable opportunity, and then you have to keep them as a ranting, raving fan, even if you don't retain them as a client. And that all has to do with really how you syndicate and curate your content to be able to attract them, because we live in a world where we see 5,000 to 7,000 ads a day, right? You have to make yourself different, and they have to know, like, and trust you in that process.
We're going to get to one of your recent examples in a second, but we've got a nice little clip that we'd like to play now.
Return on investment.
Well, you're incredibly creative, so I can see why you're so successful. Let's talk about that recent example that we were talking about just before the show. Tell us what you did and how you helped them.
So it was a multi-step approach. What we were able to do for HI, the client that we were discussing earlier, was leverage everything that they had working, because they had a good organic base, right? You don't ever want to forget about an effective strategy. What you want to do is enhance the things that work and replace the things that don't. And doing that with data-driven approaches allows you to see factual numbers to scale. So we added in methodical placements for identity resolution. We added in sales funnels that capture and convert attention specifically for the offers at hand that the client was looking for. And then we were able to systematically drive traffic through all of their online experience through omnipresent portals, where we can track them and then follow them and keep them in their sphere of influence really indefinitely, but by providing valuable content that nurtures them, educates them, and provides them a solution to the problem that they have, so they know that in this case, the client HI is the go-to client to solve the problem they're looking for.
And you were telling me before we went on the air that their small investment in you yielded great results.
Yeah, so within the first 6 days, we took roughly $1,300 of advertising spend that went to Facebook, Google, Instagram, and YouTube. And at the end of the 6th day, $37,640 in revenue had come in. And since then, it's just been scaling day over day over day, because the data, the contacts, the leads, the systems that we built for them and are using continuously upgrade using artificial intelligence and machine learning to continue to be able to nurture new people, existing people, and just continue that flow, kind of like turning a faucet on for water. You know it's going to be there because you can track it.
Yes, it seems like the world of marketing has gotten much more complicated than it was in, say, the 1950s, when you could put up a billboard or run a radio ad. There's a lot of noise out there. Talk about that. How do you shatter the noise?
Well, you're absolutely right. Back in my father's generation, my grandfather's generation, we were only seeing a couple hundred ads a day: radio, billboards, panel buses, TV. Today, the average American citizen sees 5,000 to 7,000 advertisements a day. And to get through that noise, you really have to make yourself different. But it doesn't have to be slimy or sleazy or persuasive. It has to be original. So what we always go for is real, raw, relevant, transparent content that delivers the voice of the client. So if somebody has a story, their mess that their story is the message that will identify who their client is and really create that relationship.
Yes, and Bryce, you have a very popular podcast called The Inbound Secret. We're going to put a graphic up on the screen. Tell us more about the podcast.
So The Inbound Secret was actually started as really kind of a way to showcase how the industry and really the marketplace as a whole is changing by highlighting successful entrepreneurs, showing the ins and outs of their mess, what got them here, and providing valuable resources, tips, tricks, and strategy for the solopreneur, intrapreneur, and entrepreneur that wants to level up or get away from a plateau, but they don't have the know-how or the resources right now to do it. So the Inbound Secret is their, for the lack of a better term, repertoire for where to go for that information.
And in terms of the digital marketing that you do, I mean, I love the platform because you already have your user right there on their phone or their laptop, and so it's not like they're watching you on TV and have to Google you. Talk about the advantage of doing a digital marketing strategy versus, a traditional advertising strategy.
The biggest is the trackability. So a traditional marketing strategy, let's say direct mail, while it does convert, you're talking about 1% to 5% average statistical conversion from a cold direct mail campaign. It's really hard to track and to monetize the people that did not take an action. Whereas with a digital marketing strategy, especially what we specialize in here at Funnel Driven, we can track every single access point and touch point that the end user has made with the client. So if you're a mortgage officer and you want to be able to help serve your community with more mortgage offerings to help people get into new houses or refinance and get some cash out, you need to be able to identify who your client is. But more importantly, all of the people that did not take action today will still need your help in 3 months, 6 months, a year. And if you can track that and you can continue to put value in front of them, you can scale that marketing approach. Where traditionally speaking, you kind of lose a lot of that data, the trackable asset, in just assumptive basis because you just have to repeat that feature.
Wow, this has been fascinating. We've only got about a minute left. So final thoughts for the viewer who's watching this saying, well, I think I should probably do something. I mean, what's it like to work with you? Is it a simple process? Is it intimidating?
It's pretty simple. It goes down through about 5 calls. The initial call is about 15 minutes where we just find out if we're the right fit to be able to help you. If you are, it's a simple onboarding process. It's a digital document that you sign and we get started. About 14 days later, you go live and we have your launch call. And then about 5 to 10 days later, we have your first optimization call. And then it's all about just scaling to make sure that you've got the best return on ad spend and the best return on investment possible.
Wow, Bryce, you've been a joy. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to put your website up to close out the segment. Results.closemorebusiness.com is the website. Bryce Vance, Funnel Driven LLC. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
That was awesome.